Hello there again, everybody. This is going to be Jund League number 89. I'm not streaming this one because I'm going to be away for the next week or so, and I'm really trying to pound out a few videos quickly so I can set them to delay upload while I'm away, so I can still put up a video every between 2 and 3 days, which has been the average for the past few months now. So the idea with not having Twitch chat is that I really like interacting with y'all, which does take some time. So in order to really get as many videos recorded as possible, just in one night, I'm cutting out Twitch chat and just the stream thing altogether, so I can try to really like zero in and get these done quickly, so I can get as much done as possible, so you all can have as much content as possible while I'm away, even though I'm away. So this is the list we're going to be playing again. If you haven't yet seen the video prior to this, spoiler alert, we are now an absurd combined 23 and 2 with this exact list. So I haven't calculated the percentage on that. I guess that's like it's 25 matches, so they're 4% each. We lost 2 of them, so I guess we're 92%. We're 92% win rate with this list, which is absolutely absurd, assuming my math is correct. Even if it's not correct, that's still absolutely absurd. I'm going to continue playing it because everything has been feeling really, really good. Bonecrusher has been excellent at stopping us from drawing the wrong half of the deck. It does both jobs really, really well. It disrupts the opponent and is a pretty decent clock. And a lot of the time it's just a solid 2 for 1 when you get to do both. So Bonecrusher has looked really, really good. Our record has been absolutely stellar. Clearly 23 and 2. And we're just going to keep on running it back until we get some data that says otherwise. I will quickly glance at the modern metagame breakdown. The one thing that I would like to note is that Blitz and Heliod have flipped. So Heliod has been the #1 most represented deck for a hot minute now, and it has finally been surpassed by Blitz, which has been a pretty solid 2 or 3. But not anymore, so that's one interesting thing that I want to note. And then I'll quickly, again, because I'm trying to go pretty quickly, glance through the rest of the top 15. Y'all know how to read, I'm assuming. So here it is. And let's just jump straight into leagues. Again, I'm not trying to speedrun. I'm still gonna try to make the decisions that I think are correct at the time. But I'm gonna try to operate at least a little bit more quickly than usual, because again, I'm trying to get like 2 or 3 videos recorded today. This is my second recording of the day. I just got done recording the previous video, which was Mana Traders matches 6 through 10. So obviously we got the qualification with our ridiculous record at 92% win rate. Don't think I've ever been that high over the course of any number of matches. But we're going to get into this Jund League as a nice little change of pace from the more competitive structure of the Mana Traders qualification. So this is, again, just a regular Jund League, 5 matches in and out. One land, unfortunately, going to be a no-go. We can do a lot of stuff with just our 2 lands, though. So if we have any land on top, this hand actually becomes quite good. Let's keep. Definitely a risk, but if we brick, we've got 5 things that we can do off of our single land. So I think even if we brick for a turn or 2, we're still probably in it. Obviously, hitting it sooner rather than later would be appreciated. Arid Mesa means we could be against Burn, but I still kind of have to get Blood Crypt here because I need to be able to cast all my spells, right? So we'll say yes to this, lead on Inquisition. Maybe if we are playing Burn, we don't cast Thoughtseize until we know it's really safe. Oh, and it's Dredge. Dredge is really bad for us. But we get to take their 1 enabler, so we may have time to really pull ahead. Unfortunately, the 2 cards in our hand that don't cost 1 are things where we're not really looking to cast at all, so we're in a bit of an awkward spot where we're going to need to find a non-Croxa threat, and we also need to find a land. So we're missing a lot here. But I mean, game 1 is a game versus Dredge that I expect to lose the vast majority of the time. So not super heartbreaking on that front. And this is probably going to be Life from the Loam, get back their 2 lands, put a Dredger in the yard in this way, which I don't think we're beating, to be honest. Like, I don't think this hand we're beating anyway, and especially not with this hand. We did hit the land, funny enough, but unfortunately I don't think it's going to be near good enough. We can cast the Croxa, but that doesn't do much. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Thoughtseize here and then just concede. There's, at this stage, pretty much nothing that I can do to win this game short of finding a Tarmogoyf. And even then, that's probably going to be too slow. Best I can do here is maybe make the opponent think I'm on some kind of shadow variant. Maybe that makes them sideboard differently. So Let's now concede. I think we're very firmly in the losing seat of that game. Let's just try to get games 2 and 3 and keep our record nice and pristine. So spell bombs, obvious includes. I like on the play collective brutality because you can take the 2-mana enablers. Ashiok obviously excellent. Ashiok. So I said Cletus obviously excellent, although Ashiok obviously excellent as well. And then I also the Plague Engineers. It can keep down Bloodghasts, and also it can keep Narcomoebas out of the way. Let's take out most of our removal style 1-for-1s. Those would be things like Terminate and Fatal Push. If I'm going to take out removal spells, I think if I'm going to leave in some number of removal spells, it should probably be Lightning Bolt, because those can at least go face to steal Erase. Other things that we really don't want to see, Liliana of the Veil and Kroxa. So that's a clean 10 out, 10 in. 60 cards. Let's run it, right? Yep, curve looks good. I still think the discard is going to be above average, especially while on the play, and we need to take the enabler. I don't think this is keepable. Our hand's a bit slow, and we don't have a good sideboard card. Oof, this is also a mulligan. Well, it looks like we may be unfortunately breaking our streak here, but this hand I don't think we can keep. This just doesn't do a lot. We're missing a land and we're missing a good sideboard card. We're just missing too much. Well, we will be speedrunning. That's true, right? That was the goal. Dredge, I think, is definitely not a favorable matchup. Games 2 and 3, I think, were better to win. This hand's quite good though. Let's keep this. Definitely bottom Kolaghan's Command. And then the 3 spells we have are all very good. Like, we want Inquisition on 1 to take the enabler. We want the Goyf on 2 because it's our best creature, and Ashiok is going to be the way we hate them out. But we also need all of the lands to cast the spells, which is problematic. I think Inquisition into Tarmogoyf is going to be good enough that maybe I should just gamble on just hitting the 3rd land naturally. I'm not bottoming the Ashiok, so I think I might just bottom the Forgotten Cave and then hope on actually hitting the land at some point. So let's shock the Blood Crypt, say yes, Inquisition, and then hopefully they have 1 enabler and we can take it. If they've got multiple, it's going to be rough. How about 3? They've got Thrilling Discovery, Reunion. They've got Mire and a Forgotten Cave. Oof. I guess the Thrilling Discovery is strictly better. Because that gains them 2 life, so I guess I'll take that one. It might make their fetching weird, and that they would have to get the white, but I think I'm just going to take the one that would have them gaining 2 life. Their hand is quite problematic. They have 1 Dredger, it's a Dredge 3, but their hand is very resilient. So not looking good. There's the cave. And then finding the land would obviously be ideal. Unfortunately, they have 3 enablers, so I can't really Thoughtseize again and slow them down. I think I just have to go Goyf here and then cross my fingers that it's good enough. And I'll fetch shock Overgrown Tomb here. I obviously want to play the Goyf, and I want to guarantee the double black, assuming I actually get to stick the Ashiok. So we'll Tomb, say yes, Goyf go, and then hope that they can't just really go off with this Reunion and a single Dredge 3. They revealed Chill Narcomoeba off of a Dredge 3. They did not hit another Dredger, but they did hit a Conflagrate, so they've got an easy way to bin stuff again, which was always going to be the case with just having more reunions. Unfortunately, we did not hit, although this means that we can hit moving forward. Unfortunately, they've got double reunion again. So again, I can't just Thoughtseize. Like, I could run in 6, get back a land, play the land, get basic Swamp, Thoughtseize, but that doesn't seem to do a whole lot. So what I might have to do here is just play my Ren in 6 and then ping the Narcomoeba. The downside to this is, what if they Conflagrate to kill the Ren in 6? Then we can't confirm the land for the Ashiok. So I think I'm going to Ren in 6 plus buy back land and actually Thoughtseize. It is not in any way ideal, but this is just about the only route that I've got access to right now. This has me going to 9 as well. So they've got Nature's Claim, which doesn't do anything. Grudge, which doesn't do anything. Bloodghast, which I can't take because that would come back with the land that we know about. And I guess I do just have one more Reunion. They discarded a Reunion to the Reunion. That's interesting. I guess now I get to take a Reunion, right? So this is actually good now. So now there's a chance that we actually have time to pull something off. If they're casting the Loam here, they're not actually able to dredge it back in any meaningful way. And this looks like it was the draw step. So they're going to get to, I guess, Flashback Conflagrate. Oh, they're not. This is actually turning out pretty okay for us then. Attack what? Me? Makes some sense. So we need to kill them as quickly as possible. So how we use this Ashiok is gonna really influence that. So I do definitely want to kill this Narcomoeba so it can't block. If I mill them with the Ashiok, the Goyf is not going to be very big, but I could always mill them with the Ashiok and then ping the Narcomoeba, which would have the Goyf attacking for at least 3. That said, I still might want to just mill myself to grow the Tarmogoyf as much as possible. In the event I don't hit a creature, I don't mind this Narcomoeba being in their yard for a single cycle. I think the only reason Narcomoeba in the yard would be good would be if they find a if they find the Oxydagonus and they use it to escape it. I think it's enough upside to just keep the just guarantee a creature remains in the yard. So I guess I can mill myself now and then ping it. Alright, we hit a creature anyway. Let's ping this out of the way. And we actually ended up only growing the Goyf by 1. So we are in this game now. We know their hand doesn't do jack. Didn't think I was going to be in this position. We're not out of the woods yet. They could still hit just like all of their Creeping Chills and kill us immediately. But they don't actually have a way to mill those Creeping Chills unless they find a way to enable their yard. Stomp. That's a 4/3. That attacks. Let's get in for 3. Alright, and let's do some math here. So we're attacking. They're at 12 now. If we play the Bonecrusher Giant, we're attacking for 7, puts them to 5. So if I ping now and I find the Lightning Bolt, I can shorten the game by a whole turn. So it's probably worth it to just go downstairs. So let's cast Bonecrusher Giant for 3. And then I guess say go. I could mill again to maybe grow the Goyf. There's no way they're playing bolts, right? Yeah, let's hit them. We hit a Trill off of the top, but I mean, they go straight to exile, so they never get the option. We milled Amalgam Confluence. So this is a game we may actually win. I was not expecting to have even a chance in this game of going to 5 and not seeing a stellar hand. But I mean, we've managed our resources well. We mulliganed aggressively when we identified we needed to mulligan aggressively. This is problematic. They've got, I guess, only Loam. They bend Grudge and Claim. That seems strange to me. Because I think they needed to maybe have some kind of nutty play out in order to start pulling ahead. We can Inquisition here. That actually, it doesn't add sorcery, unfortunately. I think we're doing this first, so that way if we choose to activate Ashiok, whatever we're hitting here also gets swept away. So they have Bloodghast Stinkway, and they just conceded. Wow. Alright, maybe our streak isn't going to be broken after all. That would be impressive. So I still think we have a clean 10 in, 10 out. I don't think any of these cards are going to be any bit more reasonable than these. These cards all seem that they're just going to be better. Spot removal isn't good. Things that have them discard cards of their choice aren't good. Their lands don't matter. I'm not going to pillage a Shriekhorn before it does its work. Ghost Quarter doesn't do anything. They have infinite life from the Loams. Let's just run it back and cross our fingers. Come on, opponent, I'm speedrunning. Hopefully. Just kill me quickly, at least. Yeah, I mean, that turn 1 Inquisition seeing triple enabler was backbreaking. I think they did not manage their resources well. I think ditching second Cathartic Union to the first Cathartic Union was probably the first place where it went wrong. Because then any discard spell without actually ditching anything meaningful to the first Cathartic Union means that we can really slow down their progress. And like, while having a discard spell is not going to be the end all be all for them, it's definitely one of the ways that I can potentially climb back. So they were not playing around my outs, basically, and I hit it. I hit my out. Let me get 3 lands, Tarmogoyf, Spellbomb, Ashiok. I don't care what the 7th thing is. We've got Inquisition, we've got Spellbomb, we've got Goyf. That's like most of what I asked for. Let's keep. And they have Mulligan to 6. That's helpful. So in terms of the better defense versus Cathartic Reunion, yikes. Inquisition doesn't do it as well as the Spellbomb, because if they've got multiples, we can't. Ooh, that was good. If they've got multiple things like Cathartic Reunion, Spellbomb gets a lot worse. But I think now I have to Spellbomb to prevent the nut draw, and having drawn second Spellbomb makes me a little bit more comfortable in doing so. So let's I guess we can just Overgrown Tomb off of this. Getting Overgrown Tomb as opposed to Blood Crypt means if we draw Blackleaf Cliffs, it's the best that Blackleaf Cliffs could be. That said, Blackleaf Cliffs isn't a great draw, but if we were to find it, it would be the best possible that it could potentially be. Oh, the case for getting Overgrown Tomb here is if we draw a Painless land, we could get Tarmogoyf into play painlessly, whereas if we get Overgrown Tomb, we can't. So I guess we just get Overgrown Tomb. We can always get a red source with the Verdant Catacombs, which maybe means I used my fetch lands incorrectly, but I still think probably getting Overgrown Tomb is correct here. And then we'll hope they don't have like a Cathartic Reunion on top of this, but if they do, we've at least got the Spellbomb. I guess let's just set these stops now before I forget later. 2 lands. Okay, that's a good start for us. They haven't hit anything nutty yet. We really don't want to see Dredgers. Stinkweed and a Prized Amalgam. Yuck. Alright, so I'm not going to pop this now. I'm going to wait until they dredge this until... Okay, yeah, I'm definitely popping this. So this is going to prevent 2 Narc Amoebas and a Prized Amalgam. It's going to be unfortunate if they've got a Cathartic Reunion on top of all this, especially since we've just given them back a Stinkweed Imp. But yeah, had we Inquisitioned here, we might have just been kind of dead. They still had a Stinkweed Imp in the yard after all of that, so pretty nutty start as far as they go, but the Spellbomb is definitely doing a good job at keeping us at least in it. But again, 2 mana Enabler here is going to make it really difficult. So we're going to hope they don't have it, and they don't, and we found an excellent sideboard card. It's looking up. So I could just get my Tarmogoyf into play, but I think I really need to play the control game. They might not have any more gas after the Shriekhorn, especially if I Inquisition and Spellbomb them. The downside of maybe doing this is if they don't have anything that I actually want to take, like if I have only Dredgers and Bloodghasts, for example, I'm going to be forced to take it, and then the Spellbomb I may be forced to pop it prematurely. So... maybe this is the time where I want to gamble on just playing the Spellbomb. Alternatively, I could just play Spellbomb and like not even cast the Inquisition. But if I'm not casting the Inquisition now, I'm probably not casting it at all, which honestly might just be the case. Playing the Spellbomb now means that I'm probably the safest or most insulated from just the opponent nut drawing us, which maybe gives us the most time to build towards Kalidas. We did see that the opponent is playing Ancient Grudge though. But, I mean, them playing Ancient Grudge isn't going to defend the Spellbomb anyway because it has Flashback. So I think I actually like the play of cast Spellbomb, say go. They clearly don't have a 2-mana Enabler, like a Reunion or the new Reunion equivalent. So I think this is gonna best prevent us from just dying immediately. And my mana situation is biting me now, so I should have fetched more smartly. So I mean, if they brick on the Shriekhorn, we have not seen any more enablers. So if they can brick here, we may actually be just ahead. Next turn, we're going to get to Tarmogoyf and hold up Spellbomb, which is going to be pretty nice. They didn't play Shriekhorn, they didn't play Cathartic Union, they didn't play the whatchamacallit. So I mean, there might just be flip. We know one card in their hand is a Stinkweed, because they dredged that back on turn 2 after hitting it upkeep with the Shriekhorn. Yeah, the opponent may create an awkward window for us where we do want to fetch for this end step probably to get Blood Crypt. So please brick. That's a brick. They could still just draw Cathartic Union or the Reunion equivalent, which would be pretty bad for me, but as insurance we've got the Spell Bomb, so that's nice. So the plan next turn is probably play Tarmogoyf, play Peatland, or play Peatland then Tarmogoyf. Hold up the activation while getting our clock into play. So things are looking up, and if we can hit another land to get our Kalitas down, that might lock it up. They found another Shriekhorn. Okay, I'm assuming they've drawn this. Another enabler is what I didn't want to see, but this is probably the worst of the enablers. They hit an Amalgam and a land. Okay, that's as dead as it gets for now. I mean, obviously land would have been better for us. But without a way to bring this Amalgam back, I have no incentive to pop the Spellbomb right now. Let's get our Blood Crypt. Say no. And we hit the land. Perfect. We can just play the Blackleaf Cliffs now. All of our lands come in untapped. And we are looking good. We get our pressure down. We get to hold up Spellbomb. Again, the read is that they've got nothing in their hand that I actually want to take with discard. I still think it's probably correct to leave discard in because it is so important to take the enablers to slow them down. But yeah, next turn I'm just going to slam the Kalitas, hope they don't have like a Lightning Axe or something, which might be a reason to have Inquisitions now. But if I can get a Kalitas into play, I don't mind putting down the mana for the Spellbomb. We can still just activate it and not draw a card, right? Brick, please. Creeping Chill and a what? Life from the Loam. So they can both dredge the Life from the Loam and drain us for 3, or I could just pop the Spellbomb now. I think this 3 life might be enough to matter, so where we should probably just pop the Spellbomb. Although I like them dredging 3 and then not having anything. So maybe this 3 life is something I should be willing to let go, especially with like planning to get Kalitas into play. This is a risky move, but I'm going to try to gain the 3 life here. They won't be able to dredge here, but if they just naturally draw a 2 mana payoff, which again, they'd have to get lucky and find it off of the top, presumably, then it could be bad for us. So we're going to really hope that they don't draw a 2 mana enabler. Even if they do, we're still in it. Uh-oh. Oh, they found it. They found it off the top, I think. They hit Loam. They can keep going with that. They hit Stinkweed Imp. They can keep going with that. Uh-oh. Alright, yeah, I mean, this was a calculated risk. It's going to be pretty sad if it doesn't pay off. They milled Lightning Axe, though, so interesting that they are playing Lightning Axe in some number. I guess attack for 5. This is now out of Lightning Axe range. Yeah, so popping the Spellbomb a little prematurely may be the end of us. So now we have another interesting decision. Does the opponent have a Dredger on the yard? They actually don't. They could mill one, but they can at a minimum cast the Ox, and all the dredgers that they have in their hand can reactivate. I don't think I'm casting Bonecrusher here, because assuming Kalitas lives, the Stomp can be very good. But I don't want to Inquisition, and because then I can't cast the Kalitas here. So I think now I'm just going to gamble that they don't have another Lightning Axe. So, I mean, that just me trying to save the 3 life is definitely going to be the moment that I lose this game if I lose this game. Alright, Kalitas time. Let's get, I guess, basic Swamp. I guess we can get Mountain. Yeah, let's get Mountain. We've got lots of black sources already. In fact, everything is a black source. Alright, so hopefully my greed doesn't bite us here, because we definitely would have a much better chance had I not popped that spell bomb there. So fingers crossed that I didn't doof it up. No dredger, please. They milled a Lightning Axe, okay. So I guess that makes that less likely they've got another one. At a minimum, they get to escape this Ox, though, and then they'll just dredge all the stuff that we know is in their hand. What is this? They drew a Thrilling Discovery. Jeez. Alright, well, this is going to have them going pretty deep, right? Double Stinkweed Imp. Oof. Oh geez, they hit Conflagrate as well. So they can just kill the Kalitas this way if they want. That leaves them open to maybe like another Spell Bomb or an Ashiok exiling the rest of the yard, which would turn off the Conflagrate. So like they can Ox here, or they can Conflagrate to kill the Kalitas. They do have 4 cards in hand, so they've got exactly enough to do it now. This might be their only good window to do it. I hope they Ox here, because I want to keep this Kalitas, right? Yeah, I definitely doofed it, though. At least we know that even if I add a loss to, like, my record, it was a game I could have won, so that's, like, not a knock on the list, you know? Like, the list could have won, but the pilot messed it up. So, yeah, I messed this one up. I should have probably been able to pull ahead. What do I have to do now? I think I might need to Hail Mary a Peatland to find either a Spell Bomb or an Ashiok. If I miss, I guess I can play a 4-3. It's not great. They're gonna get to reload with the Ox next turn though, so I think I really have to spike it. I could also hit a Plague Engineer and keep the Narcomoebas down. I mean, none of these options are great. But I mean, Ashiok would be ideal. Bolt? That doesn't do anything. Yeah, I doofed it. I done doofed it. I mean, we can hope the opponent misplays. Do I have an attack? Not really. I can attack for 5. They just chump it. I think I have to keep the Goyf back to block and keep my life total high. So I guess I'm playing for a Bonecrusher as a 4-3. I guess I'm playing a Bonecrusher as a 4-3. I mean, maybe it's just better to run in 6 ping an Archimedes to keep my life total high. Like, if they attack all, I can block one, bolt another. But then they just bring back an Ox. Yeah, I done doofed. I should have let that 3 life go. There was really no, I said it was greedy as I was doing it. Whew. I mean, maybe we don't beat the Thrilling Discovery anyway, but I definitely did not give myself the best odds to win this. They drew the payoffs or the enablers when they needed them, and I let them get away with it. They did dredge again. I wonder if I Ashiok I can just mill him. That'd be funny. I don't think it's gonna come up that way. They're gonna Ox here. I guess they can only dredge so much now. Remember, you cannot dredge a card if you don't have that many cards in the yard, because the dredge number is part of the cost of dredging. So if you can't pay the costs, you can't dredge. They're at 8 cards left. Maybe I mill them out. That'd be a really hilarious finish to this. But I mean, as long as they don't go crazy, I don't think there are many ways that they could doof this up. They hit another Creeping Chill. Yikes. They still have Bloodghast in the deck too, which is gonna have haste if they find a land. Did they play a land already? Oh, they hit double Creeping Chill. Fat yikes. I think their sequencing was pretty poor. I mean, the sequencing is good if they're trying to get Bloodghasts back, but now I can kill a Prized Amalgam and they won't come back. They've got 1 card left in library. Loam, just a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Alright, they get the Bloodghast back. How many Bloodghasts are there? 2? Can I even stay alive here? I block an Amalgam, bolt an Amalgam, I take 5, go to 1. If I draw Ashiok, I win. How sick would that be? Right? Because I just milled them out. I've got a second look at it, right? With the Nurturing Peatland and the Wrenn and 6. 2 looks at Ashiok. 2 Ashioks in the deck. Oh. So I guess the odds of me hitting it are slightly higher if I just cast the Bloodbraid, right? Because I can cycle, but that might hit a land. Bloodbraid will never hit a land. Do I have any 1-mana cantrips that would still let me cast Ashiok? I don't, right? I have to Bloodbraid and try to hit Ashiok. There are 2 copies in the deck. This can't hit a land. So we're 42 minus the number of lands in the deck to hit it. Out of 42. Ashiok. 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 Keep my record strong. Damn it. Damn it. How sick would that have been? How sick would it have been if we just milled him out? It's like we almost had another look at it too. They're going to draw the last card in their library now. They flew a little close to the sun. I think this opponent played this very suboptimally. Bummer. That was a fun one, though. So, like, at least we know that, like, the loss was largely contributed to by me making a very greedy play. Like, obviously, hindsight is 20/20, and there was just absolutely no reason for me to pull the trigger on that second spell bomb. There was really no reason for me to do it. They revealed Yorion. We've got 1 land. Don't think I'm going to keep it even on the draw. This hand is better. I'll ditch a land. I guess let's just play a fetch, say go. And we're on the play, so really happy I didn't keep that, right? Let's take these stops off. Marsh Flats, okay. That could still be any flavor of Yorion. Let's get Stomping Ground here. This means Blackleaf Cliffs is the best possible it can be because we've already got Overgrown Tomb in hand. For sure playing the Wrenn and 6 here. Get back our Verdant Catacombs. I mean, versus Death and Taxes variants of Yorion. Renin 6 is likely to be quite good. Godless Shrine. That could still be anything. I'm assuming Taxes. This list is just such a blast. Wall of Omens. Okay, so maybe not Taxes, maybe something more Blink based. Who knows? I'm not gonna combo a Stomp and a Bolt to kill a wall when I can just play a Bonecrusher that attacks past it. So they know about a Verdant. Let's play a Verdant. They're pretty likely to be a Path to Exile deck, and they're not gonna pressure my life total all very quickly. That said, if I find a Dark Confidant, it's likely to be very good. So maybe I want to keep my life total high for those purposes. I think I'm going to get a Swamp here just to make my mana perfect. And then just plan on not getting any more basics after this. I'll let them give them to me with their various Path to Exiles. Let's cast a 4/3, which attacks past a wall pretty nicely. Bonecrusher looking good. We needed a threat here. It's a threat. Had we needed removal, it would have been that too. Charming Prince, blink a wall? Yep. We get to Bloodbraid here. Bloodbraid doesn't attack into walls super well, but if they do block it, we can always finish it off with the Renin 6 that we've got in play. So that would incentivize them to maybe not block. They've got a path. Take 2. Haha. Let's use the ability, please. Let's get, I guess, Basic Mountain. We can't fetch it now anyway, so let's just get it out of the deck. Liliana. Liliana is quite good, but onto a board of Wall Omen's Charming Prince, it doesn't seem very good. I think I'm going to try to clear the board of other things before that comes into play. And again, I don't want to be getting basics. So let's just shock this. Say yes. I'm losing a bit of value here if they don't block with wall, because then I don't have a land to get back. In the grand scheme of things, it's probably fine. We drew a bolt. Okay, that can get the Charming Prince out of the way. Which means that their block with wall is no longer looking great, because then we can keep the board empty. But again, if they don't block, I'm losing a little value having not fetched. Which, with the Liliana, every bit of value I lose is potentially substantial. Do I just minus at them anyway? It's conceivable that an ultimate comes up, so let's just keep on plusing. I don't really see a super big incentive to start minusing quite yet while their life total is so high. This is going alright. There's definitely a lot they can do at 4 mana that could be dangerous. Vial is not one of those things. Land I don't particularly care about. Stoneforge is dangerous, but what I get to do here is I can bolt the Stoneforge and then Liliana Edict to have the board empty. Batterskull is something I'm going to be concerned about. But by then we might just have a Renin 6 emblem going. Alright, yeah, I think I'm going to bolt the Stoneforge, Liliana Edict. Hiya. Hiya. Just gonna grind them to dust best I can here. Alright, and then they know about a Verdant, so let's use that. I'll just get a dual tapped here. The last dual tapped, say no. Technically I should be doing this in the second main after I attack, but don't think it's gonna super matter. Yeah, and unless they interact with our yard, we've got 3 lightning bolts in hand. Liliana in play as well. We're about to charge up another Edict. If they do have land for Batterskull here, I may be forced to double bolt it. Alternatively, I was gonna say I could ping it and bolt it from hand, but I won't actually have the emblem, and so I can't actually bolt if I do that. So yeah, I may need to double bolt it so I can continue connecting, and also continue plussing the Liliana to charge up an Edict, which is not the ideal use of 2 bolts in hand. But I mean, if it gets the thing out of the way and lets us continue attacking, then it's probably just worth it. Then the turn after, we can bolt them again, hit them again for 3, and that is lethal after hitting them again for 3 here. This means we get to... This means we get to use the Renin 6 emblem, which is good news. Oh, we just bolt them 3 times. What am I talking about? Right? We've got 3 red. We've got 3 lands in hand. Let's just bolt them 3 times. What am I talking about? Can't believe I almost missed that. That makes it easy as well. Not that we really needed the help. Can I do it all? We've got, I guess, 3 red sources, so I can't actually do it all. If I shatter this, they could flash in a 1/2. Yeah, let's just bolt them a bunch. Renin 6 looked good that game. Okie dokie. Black-white Orion taxes. Let's bring in Kalitas. Let's bring in Plague Engineer. I like the brutalities. I guess if they're a more devoted blink deck, which would be indicated by the Wall of Omens, it's possible that brutality becomes weaker against stuff like Restoration Angel. So that's definitely something to watch out for. I think I'm also bringing in Push. What would I be cutting here? I think I'm keeping Terminate over next copy of Push. Everything in the deck just seems excellent versus this opponent. I think what I'm going to do is cut all the discard. This turn's going to be great turn 1 and 2, but that's about it. And we're on the draw, so it's even worse. We just need 1 cut from all of this, and everything looks good. I think what I will do is remove 1 copy of Tarmogoyf. Their removal spells are going to be Path and Push, so the Glyphs aren't necessarily more resilient to removal than anything else we've got access to. And also, taking out one of these threats means that we are less backbroken by things like Rest in Peace, which they could easily be playing. Kroxa, at least, has a trigger when it enters the first time, as opposed to just being a goat. Yeah, this hand is probably excellent versus what the opponent's got going on. You've got a 1 mana removal spell, 2 mana walker, and a 3 mana walker, and they've mulliganed. It's funny, like, I almost like it when they've got Aether Vial in this matchup, because it's one less thing I have to kill. I'm going to play a fetch here, because if they've got Leon in Arbiter, I'm going to want to get a fetch out of the way. It probably doesn't matter, because I'm going to want to bolt whatever they play anyway, so I can run in 6 onto an empty board. Thalia would make this sticky, but I still can just bolt it next turn. This is pretty sticky, too. If I kill this with the trigger on the stack, I just don't get the card back, so I think I just have to let this happen. They have to take the bolt. And then I guess I'll get Overgrown Tomb, and then I can play Mountain for the Renin 6, buy back Overgrown Tomb. Titler Scholar is the most awkward card for us here. They have to take the bolt. If they don't, it's great for us. Because then it's like they hadn't played anything at all. We just kill it out of the way and just keep going with the walkers. So yeah, they're going to get to threaten the Renin 6 here, which is unideal. If I find another way to kill this, though, I'm just going to go with that. Like, if I find Bolt, Push, Bonecrusher Giant, any way to kill this, I'm going to prioritize that. Glyph's a fine hit. I think I just want to do that, because if I play the Renin 6, things can get sticky for me. They can just attack it, namely. But if I play the Renin 6 and they've got an X1 like a Thalia, then maybe I can kill the Thalia or the Flicker Wisp, whatever, and then Liliana onto an empty board. And like they can have Bolt or Push, or not Bolt, they'll have Push or Path to just kill the Goyf. So even though I know that the Ren and 6 can get pressured, I think it's still probably best to play the Ren and 6 here, because it may slow them down the most when they're unable to play an X1. Because they know about the Liliana, so they know an X1 is not a good plan. And the Tarmogoyf is just so fragile here while we have no info on their hand. Skyclave, jeez. Wait, that's fine for us. They get to kill the Ren and 6, but they know about the Liliana that we get to use to Edict onto an empty board. So this is questionable. They must just not have anything better to do? That seems unlikely, but I mean, sure. They know about this Liliana, right? Like, I'm not crazy? Yeah, they know about it. So this is really strange. We're going to have to put so much mana re-equipping this thing. So we use the Ren, we use the Mountain. They know about the Tomb, we use the Liliana. They know about the Mire, they know about the Blood Crypt, which we just played. So they know about these two things. These two. Everything else is a mystery. I guess they know about Bolt as well, because they just gave it back. That was really strange. I guess they just didn't have a creature to play at 3 mana, right? That's the only thing that can mean. Kaya. Sure. Haven't seen that in a while. It's not going to be that good if they can't defend it. I could just double bolt it. But I mean, I'm going to, I think, play the Tarmogoyf. Try to pressure it that way. I mean, it is unfortunate that whatever we plus with, they can just exile. But I mean, that's not even that bad. Let's lead on a plus. I can just ditch one of the things they know about. Let's have it be the Mire. We've got Mountain in play anyway, so Verdant Catacombs strictly better than Mire. They discarded another Kaya. I guess that gives us some indication of what they weren't doing last turn. Alright, so let's leave up a Bolt. I guess we can play other fetch here, so if we really wanted, we could leave up double Bolts. This may be indicating to the opponent that we've got something to at 2 mana or 2 1-mana things. It's like they know about our Overgrown Tomb. This Kaya just doesn't exile anything. It exiles something that costs 1 or less, which just isn't anything. Wall. Wall is going to be annoying in that it's harder to attack the Kaya. I do want to keep the Liliana around, so I don't think I'm willing to Edict just a wall. Is this 3 to equip? 4. Jeez, yeah. That was a weird play when the opponent knew we had the Liliana. You can exile that, sure. We're still a 3/4. There's not an instant in the yard. So I can bolt the Kaya, or even just bolt the opponent as a way to grow the Goyf, make sure that they can't block it with wall. I guess I'll just bolt the Kaya. It's a little strange. Like I can bolt them and then attack the Kaya, which doesn't actually kill the Kaya. Maybe I just untap. I'm gonna play a 5th land and can do actual everything in my hand anyway, as long as this gets a red source. Yeah, let's just get a red source and untap, get some information. Because like if we find another Liliana here, it becomes real simple. I'll just Edict, play another Liliana, and kill their Kaya, and just kind of do it all. Yeah, like if they have a push here, then I can just buy it back with Kolaghan's Command on top of everything. So they know about a Tomb. I don't want to fetch basics. I'll just shock the Tomb and discard the Verdant. If they discard... I could discard an instant here to grow the Goyf that way, but I feel like my instants are probably pretty valuable, right? Discarded a creature. That grew it. So I'm going to attack the Kaya here. If they block, cool. If not, I'll just use 2 things. And if they've got a push here, which is kind of the read, because we think they don't have a creature, right? Because they would have done that instead of throwing something into a Liliana, and then they drew wall. So I don't think they've got another creature. So the read would be either just a land or a removal spell that they haven't pulled the trigger on yet. And I might just want to actually double bolt this and preserve the Kolaghan's Command, because I think the Kolaghan's Command is probably just worth more. So let's just double bolt this thing. And then maybe I just play the land, or I just keep the land, because if I want to preserve the Kolaghan's Command next turn and I want to plus the Liliana and keep what I draw, then it makes sense that I shouldn't play this. So let's just not play it. We're so far ahead. Like, I could Overgrown Tomb Shock, like, kill them all, have them discovered. They could just cantrip, and, like, this Maul means actual nothing anyway. The odds I actually want to instant speed this are so low that I think just holding the card for the Liliana that we know about is probably better. What did they do? They put Yori into their hand. Okay. Sure. Yeah, this is what I meant. Like, I would now rather just pitch the Overgrown Tomb. In the event that they're going to be growing my Goyf with whatever they discard, it's probably worth it to just do this now. We've got Liliana in play to edict the whatever, and they added Artifact. Oh, actually, I guess Artifact was already added because of Tide Hollow Sculler. I could just play the Plague Engineer now. Should I? I mean, I'll think I'm going to hold it until I have information on what I actually want to name. I guess most things that they have are probably going to be human, like Spellbinder, Thalia. I guess not Flicker Wisp, which would be a reason to hold the Engineer. It doesn't attack for all that much, so let's just hold it. If they use their turn playing Yorion, they'll blink the Maul, attach it to the Yorion, but then we just edict it. If they ever get rid of this with a non-exile effect, we'll just Kolaghan's Command it back. Short of a Path to Exile, we've got pretty much every base covered. Liliana just being an absolute house. Like, even if they find something like a Celestial Purge, it's like, okay. Sure, you want to process to make my Goyf not die? I guess they could just not process. This is -3/-3. Yeah, they just want to keep the ammo in the yard here. And again, I don't think I have to use Kolaghan's Command. I mean, I guess the reason to use it here is that we actually get to kill the Yorion anyway, right? Because we can kill this, have them discard, and then just plus the Liliana. Let's do that. We'll kill this so we can keep on plussing. 2 to a target you discard. You'll discard, hit this. And now we'll just play the Plague Engineer so we don't have to discard it. If they still have a path or a path or push, we're missing a good threat, but we're ahead on board with the Liliana. All right, I'll attack first. Wait, we know they don't have it, right? Because we know their last card is a Yorion. We just talked about this. So now without knowing what we're supposed to kill here, I guess they have more humans in the deck than spirits, which would be Flicker Wisp. So let's just name human. Say bye to Yorion. I always go between Yorion and Yorion. I should really just pick. It was a Strangler? Oh, the Yorion was ditched a while ago. So yeah, y'all must have been like shouting through the screen calling me crazy. 1 card left in hand, I still think it's correct to empty hand them versus our 2 things. Charming Prince, scry 2? Sure. Even if you scry 2, I'm going to edict it out of the way. Attack for 7. Most burn spells in the deck kill you. Even Bloodbraid kills you. We'll still have an Edict just charged up, ready to go. They went bottom with the Scry. Yep, sounds about right. We even named human. Playing that lands there, perhaps a mistake. Actually, what am I talking about? I want to plus. Oh no, I edicted here. So yeah, playing the land maybe would have been a mistake, because if I want to plus next turn to empty the opponent's hand before I attack, and I like draw a card that's like an instant speed interactive spell that I could use in combat, it's possible that I would have wanted to keep it a surprise if I want to plus before I attack. And like my sixth land means nothing here, so playing this was probably a little loose. And they've just conceded. Sweet. So we are 1-1, but we doofed the first one, so it'd be like that. And I'm just gonna stop keeping track of my ridiculous record at this point. I was 23-2, then I was 23-3. Now I guess I'm 24-3, which is still really excellent. But it's getting tired. I'm getting tired counting all the wins. Let's go first. I don't think I can keep this. It's a one-lander with lots of our top ends. We've got two things to do on 1 mana. This hand is significantly better. Let's keep the 2 1-mana stuff, the Bonecrusher, because it's more interaction, and the threat that we're missing. And I think I'm just going to keep the 3 lands, so that would have me bottoming Kroxa. And the opponent kept the 7, it looks like, so that also makes a discard of the opponent's choice look a little bit worse. Let's lead Thoughtseize. It's Heliod. So we've got a pretty solid record versus Heliod. I'm probably just gonna take their Accelerant here. If I take a 3-mana thing, they're gonna get to play a 3-mana thing on their turn too anyway. So I think taking the Accelerant here probably correct. We drew another land. Not the worst, but not great. So I do plan on getting Stomping Grounds, so let's, I guess, play the Verdant here. This is potentially hazardous, because this is the only reliable way I have to Revolt to kill a 3-drop.
Sorry.
You're good. So playing this land now, potentially a mistake, but at the same time I need to get green in case I find a Glyph or something. But like, we know about 3-drops and we know about the push in hand, so maybe this is a little bit risky. I mean, I don't have to fetch right now, but I do want to get the Bonecrusher down if they don't play something here. Alright, so I maybe played again, I think the land drop sequencing is one of the more under the radar difficult parts of the deck. Could have shocked to stomp there. Let's just cast a 4/3. Probably should have shocked. It's like trading life for life, but I think their life means much more than mine, considering they don't care so much about my life total, but I do care about theirs. So they should probably be at 2 less life now. So if I lose by not being able to kill them by 2 more life, we'll know where I messed up. They get Noble Hierarch. Interesting. We drew a Bolt. That's nice. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'll probably just bolt this, play another Bonecrusher, really try to apply some pressure. They'll sack this in response, but it's okay because Bonecrusher is a creature. Bonecrusher looking pretty good this game. It's the pressure we need. And I don't think it's correct to give the opponent the option to block here. My threats are worth so much more than theirs that they almost definitely block. Because in their head, they've got to think they've got so much more time. Windswept Teeth. This is a different printing. They got this one too, I guess. They didn't play that Wood of Foothills. We didn't know about the Foothills yet, so. Like, in their head, they've got to have so much more time to find their combo pieces if they trade. Because, like, they don't know that we've got a threat or not yet. So I think they're trading that every day of the week. Oof, that was good. I would still really like to kill the Spike Feeder, though. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, we don't have a way to revolt reliably. So I might need to just Hail Mary it. There are 3 cards in the opponent's hand that we don't know about. So if the other card is Heliod, or the card they draw is Heliod, we could just die on the spot. If I play the Bloodbraid, we've got an 11 power attack, so if I hit any burn spell, maybe they're forced to block, but even then they could block with Hierarch. So yeah, this may be another game where I played a little too loosely. Again, I'm trying to speedrun it, so I'm thinking like a quarter second less on average. Liliana. Liliana is interesting, but again, they're just going to sacrifice the Noble. I'll still Edict first, so that if they do want to block, it's got to be with the Spike Feeder. So yeah, if they've got the Heliod, if they company into Heliod, or they just have the Heliod, we'll know that it's because I put down Revolt earlier than I had to. I mean, they're tanking on this, so maybe they don't have it. If they want to attack my Liliana down, sure, I'm jamming everyone. I think they're just gonna. I think they're supposed to just try to draw it here and not block. Go to 2. So next turn, if they don't find it, they can block, gain 4 up to 6, which still has these being lethal. So they're gonna have to add something to the board. Maybe 2 things because of the Fatal Push. You got it? If you got it, you got it. Doesn't look like it. Ballista for 1 is interesting. Skyclave. Skyclave is very interesting. Doesn't trigger the Bonecrusher. No. I mean, I still get to Fatal Push the Walking Ballista. Oh, wow. This attack is bad. Because now I push the... I can push the Ballista and just kill him. Yeah, I mean, I still get to clear the board here, which means the only way I think I die is to accompany into exactly the combo. Or I could just, you know, draw well. You want to ping my Liliana? Sure. So yeah, this draw means that we should just win, because one of our things is going to get through. I mean, I guess they could gain 2, but they'd actually have to... they'd have to gain 2 twice, which means Edict still kills them, because they'd gain 4 up to 5, and then we kill them again. Our Heliod matchup has looked very, very good. Granted, I think I've been pretty lucky to fade Collected Companies a good portion of the time. Company is, I think, the best card against us. Alright, so now, smartly, they get to block Bonecrusher, gain 4 up to 5, take 3 down to 2, and then they're out as company into combo. Or Skyclave plus something. They're not actually just dead in the water here, but we're definitely ahead as long as they don't get super lucky. Go to 2. Yeah, I think that the way this has played out has been really indicative of how taking that accelerant on the first turn was so important. Because if I don't take that accelerant, they can maybe put us on the back foot, and we need to be on the front foot. They got Arbor Elf. I mean, if you got a crap ton of stuff just to throw in front, that's what you got, huh? I mean, we get to kill... Okay. Okay. Okie doke. Take 3, I guess. I'll say they're going to have to trade away their entire board here. Alright, green, white, Heliod. Brutality is a bad removal spell. Engineer stops the combo pretty handily as long as their stuff doesn't enter with an additional counter. Push helps break up the combo. Ghost Quarter is interesting. They play a crap ton of basics, so this is mainly a Utopia Sprawl consideration. They don't really care about having their stuff go to the yard because they just play it off of the top, so I don't think Coletus is going to be great. It's just going to be one of the slower clocks I have access to. Don't think they're going to be super impacted by Ashiok. It's just fetch lands. It doesn't seem like a lot. I like the Wildfires a decent amount. These decks have been innovating to play the let's see if I can remember the name of it. Probably not. The land, it's a colorless land, but for a green and a white and 2, you get to put counters on everything. So this is good versus that and the Utopia Sprawled lands, which could come up. I think against combo, I usually like shaving some number of top end stuff. They're pretty likely to be having something like Rest in Peace. So I like cutting some of the top end that relies on the graveyard. Everything else seems great though. I think I'm cutting Inquisitions. Thoughtseize is probably just better because it takes company. These things are a huge liability versus the card Veil of Summer. And especially going into the late game, the hand disruption really doesn't seem that good. I need 2 cuts from here. Let's, I guess, make it another Thoughtseize. I need 1 more cut. I think 2 Thoughtseizes are probably good. We've got Brutality to supplement the hand disruption sweep. I think on the draw, let's maybe cut a Liliana. We are worried about Auriok Champion, which Liliana is one of our better answers to, but it is significantly weaker on the draw when the opponent can deploy multiple creatures. We've got Plague Engineer and Liliana as good ways to interact with that. On the play, I'm almost certainly bringing this Liliana back. Triple push. We're weak to Auriok Champion, but not to much else. Yeah, and them not playing an Accelerant is good for us, but also they could be holding up Veil of Summer, which is going to be pretty annoying versus our various Fatal Pushes. So I'm currently offline, but someone just followed me, so that's cool. D Medina V. I mean, thank you for the follow. I guess I appreciate it. I just had a post that went live on the Facebook group, so that's probably where that follow is coming from. I did some self promoting over there. So again, not going to make the same mistake I made last game. I'm going to try to preserve at least 1 fetch as a Revolt Enabler. And there's the Auriok Champion that I mentioned we were soft to. Let's get, I guess, Overgrown Tomb. We want a black source here. Can't get Blood Crypt. We've got that in hand. So Auriok Champion is dangerous. Alright, well, we can now more freely play a fetch for if they play a 3-mana spell here that we would want to push. Looking for Lilianas and looking for Plague Engineers. There are 5 of those. So we're, I guess, like 10% to hit. Pretty much anything they play here, I'm going to hit with the push. Them not doing anything is worrisome. Makes me think even more that they've got Veil. Veil is just such a headache in the matchup. And then I'll play the Verdant here and just not fetch when I can avoid it. Land that's always going to come in tapped unless they play it now is not great. But again, I think I need to keep up Revolt in case they try to combo me. And I really don't want to tap out for Bloodbraid next turn, but I will do it if I have to. They've got company mana now. The opponent has done a great job at putting me in a very awkward position. Yeah, I want to cast Bloodbraid, so I guess I'm fetching. They've done an excellent job at making what I'm trying to do very, very awkward, which might be just them being experienced in the matchup, which is... This is a new style of playing that I have not previously calculated. Alright, I guess we're tapping out. I'm not going to continue playing the draw-go game when I need to get some pressure on the board versus the combo deck. We hit Renin 6. That's not the worst. Can't kill the Auriok Champion still. I mean, this can at least mean that maybe we have a reliable source of revolt for the fatal pushes, which again we still don't actually have access to. This activation was a mistake. If they company here, which is likely, I may want the Ren and 6 to kill whatever it is that they put into play. So a company is likely, and I should not have gotten that land back yet. Playing a little fast and loose. Like I said, trying. Whoa! They whiffed. Okay. Yeah, playing a little fast and loose, and then getting rewarded, I guess. That doesn't happen very often, right? It had to have been just like all lands and like path exiles, I guess. Alright, if they have Veil of Summer, at least we've got more pushes. I guess we can respond to a Veil by actually killing their thing. No attack, that's interesting. Bolt is good too. We could just use the Bolt as a way to play around the Veil, but I actually think I want to bait it out, because the Veil is just going to be very good versus me if I'm trying to disrupt the actual combo. So I think if they have a Veil, this is when I want to bait it out. I do need to revolt to turn it on, so I guess let's do it now. I guess let's get... I would love to get Blood Crypt, but it's in hand. I want to get more black sources. I guess actually I have to get a basic, so this decision kind of easy. So if you've got the Veil, I'm doing this on purpose. Response. If you've got Veil again, then so be it. I don't have an attack because pro red. Buy back a land. We don't have Revolt, but we do have a Bolt. We're also holding up Kolaghan's Command, which isn't nothing. It's actually kind of funny. There's like an argument to just popping the clue while they can't sacrifice it themselves. But this is also just probably a fine removal spell. Heliod. That's dangerous. And the Auriok Champion means that if they just play the whatchamacallit, the Spike Feeder, this is going to trigger and put a counter on it, which means I have to be the one to initiate breaking the combo. So having double removal spell is going to be really important. Yeah, it would be interesting to see if maybe a Ren and 6 ultimate comes up. They can keep us off of ultimate at the cost of maybe enabling my own attacks. Still want to Liliana, still want to Plague Engineer. There are 5 total copies between the two of those. I don't think I'm using a Kolaghan's Command now just because I can. Again, double removal spell is going to be pretty important, so if I want to use double removal spell and still have removal spell left over, I probably shouldn't just willy-nilly throw stuff just because I have it. I've got a push, so I'm going to want to make sure I've got access to Revolt. Let's play a Mire because this can fetch Mountain. I've got the Forest already, so the Mire is just strictly better. Say go. Something that maybe they are interested in beginning to do is they could just activate the Heliod targeting their Auriok Champion and then start attacking to put counters on their Auriok Champion. This would get it out of Plague Engineer range. Also, playing any creature would get it out of Plague Engineer range because they could just put the counter on the champion, right? And then it has to be Liliana. And I did take one out, which was, again, calculated risk, which maybe was not required. Spike feeder. Alright, well, this is why we kept double removal. Alright, so we have to make sure that they target this thing first. So that way they could just instead target the Auriok champion. So I guess now we'll Kolagon's command. You'll discard shock this. Oops. They'll then activate, or if they have another Veil, this could be problematic. So we will let this resolve because we want them to again target with the thing. So, and then now we will revolt, getting basic mountain in case we also need to bolt. Okay, so now they're going to get to put the counter on Auriok Champion, which means we need to find Liliana. And this would be a good way to do it, because apparently they don't have a Veil of Summer. You'll discard a card. Skyclave. That's an interesting discard, because that could be the way that they deal with the Renin 6. That might just mean they have another one. Or they're going to attack it. That also works. Yeah. Makes sense to me. Liliana, please. We're still very soft to a Spike Feeder. But if this isn't in play, then we'll still have the Bolt to disrupt the combo once more. So Liliana, please. Yes! Yes! It's looking up. It's looking up. Edict you. They know about our plethora of fetches. I guess, what's one more? Okay, so we've got Bolt disrupt the combo if they find another Spike Feeder. They have to initiate first now that they no longer have Auriok Champion. We could still just die if they've got more iterations of combo. And their hand's got to be good because they discarded a Skyclave, right? Oof. If they've got it on top of this, we'll just lose. Because we have to bolt this. Alright, so we'll bolt this in response so it doesn't enter with another counter. They do still have to be afraid of another removal spell. Because if they go for the combo... If they go for the combo and we've got it, they're back to square one. We've got a 4-card hand, so they have to be worried. They should at least do it at upkeep if they plan on going for it. I guess that opens up Kolagon's command. And they're going for it, so I'll concede. I'm not going to make them click through it infinitely. It was a good game. On the play, maybe Pillage gets better. On the play, Liliana definitely gets better. We were only in that game because we top-decked Liliana at the perfect moment. I guess not the perfect moment. It would have been better much earlier, but still good when we found it. I'm thinking about cutting a Kolagon's command. It's just a more expensive way to interact. I think Liliana, also 3 mana, but interacts more relevantly. Let's do this. Let's go first, please. Yeah, sounds good. We've got Renin 6 on 2, Liliana on 3, and we've got Plague Engineer to disrupt the combo, and then we've got some excellent card advantage engines on top of it all. Gonna try to keep my life total decently high. Let's get Overgrown Tomb, because if we draw Blackleaf Cliffs, that makes Blackleaf Cliffs the best possible that it can be. We didn't hit it, but that's fine. Let's get Stomping Ground, because the basic I'm most likely to want to fetch is basic Swamp, which would give me double black. So let's shock this, say yes. Cast Renin 6. So right now we're just missing pressure, which we do have, but it's kind of weak pressure. We've got plenty of ways to generate card advantage, but we need a way to close quickly before the opponent gets their feet under themselves. And then Veil of Summer is something I'm going to be careful to play around with this Liliana. If I'm going to Edict them with the Liliana, I'm going to make sure I haven't cast any black spells first, so that way they won't be able to draw cards on top of it all, on top of countering the activation. Liliana onto an empty board, going up, is nice. They might just cycle some Veils. Yeah. Veils look a lot worse when you're not actually protecting something. To note, I should have probably gotten this back first. They'd have a little bit less information. I'm still going to pitch the land and buy back a land. Could have gotten back this Verdant Catacombs, then just discarded that. So we're looking good. I think next stop is playing the Plague Engineer to name whatever the Spike Feeder is. I don't remember right now. Skyclave is definitely annoying. We can Brutality that and hopefully make the coast clear from a Collected Company via Brutality, and we can also deploy a Dark Confidant. So we've got a good little turn coming up. You kind of have to take the Liliana here, because those are like the onboard removal spells, especially the one that is good versus your Auriok Champion, which is probably one of the better cards that you could have, especially if I'm pressured to defend versus a company. But I mean, I don't necessarily have to fight a company coming up because we've got the Brutality ready to go. Bolt's good. So I believe I am getting back Wooded Foothills, fetching Basic Mountain. I guess I can make that decision after Brutality. I'll just ditch the Peatland again with the intention of buying it back on a future turn. So we'll 2-mode it. 2 modes. Reveal your hand, -2/-2. Cast you. Black, and doesn't matter. I could just ditch second copy of Bob, but while I've got this Renin 6 in play, ditching lands just feels really, really free. So this is the Collected Company check. We take it. We got Spike Feeder, Ranger Captain, Gideon. Gideon's going to be a headache, but getting creatures into play is all the more important now, because we need to be able to pressure it. Get Basic Mountain. Cast a Bob. So now if they play the Gideon, we could maybe suicide the Dark Confidant after it gives us a card. We'll connect with the Gideon for 2 and we can use the Bolt to finish it off. And then maybe we take it home with the Renin 6 Ultimate. That would be exciting. They do have Spike Feeder in hand, so maybe we have to save the Bolt for that. But again, we've got the Plague Engineer to disrupt the Spike. It is a Spike. Because again, there's going to be no window, because they're going to have 2 +1/+1 counters on a 0/0, so it'll be 2 +1/+1 counters on a 1/1. So as soon as they remove a counter, there won't be a window to put the counter back on it while it's a 0/0, so it'll just die immediately. Sweet. Our Heliod matchup continues to look quite good. We have expertly rolled a 1. Classic. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this. I don't have any good interaction on turn 1. What I mean by that is just the 1 mana stuff. Push, Bolt, Inquisition, Thoughtseize. But I mean, I do have a Renin 6 for my second turn, so that's good. So what I think I'm gonna do here is probably just get the Ravine down, and then next turn I can play the Mire and get that back with the Renin 6. It's also very possible I should just play the Mire now, because that kind of forces me to fetch Shock to play the Renin 6. I don't really want to do that. I can hit my land drops pretty reliably as long as it doesn't get countered. If there's some kind of control deck with Scalding Tarn may indicate, I think it's probably better to just get the top land down now, so that way if the Renin 6 does get countered, we can continue hitting untapped lands to curve out Kolaghan's Command into Bloodbraid. Triumph, okay. So it's looking a lot like 4-color control. I guess some kind of scape shift deck is still very possible. That makes our Bob look kind of silly, not gonna lie. Although Bloodbraid's gonna be good versus this opponent. I see your Ren and 6 and raise it 1 Ren and 6. I guess it's a call, right? You bet a Ren and 6, I call a Ren and 6. Red and green. A little mirror-y action going. Our hand is quite good for what the opponent has indicated. Unless they've got some kind of combo finish, then our hand is looking soft. 4 color control. Alright, so it's looking like an Omnath pile. More lands, not great. I'm probably just not going to play the Blackleaf Cliffs. I want to continue getting value. Which I can do by casting Kroxa here. If I just play a land and get back a land, I have to go to discard anyway. So I guess what's going to happen here is just cast a Kroxa, buy back a Bloodstained Mire. Not going to play the Bob because that just looks pretty terrible. They can pretty easily just ditch a land and buy it back. Not ideal. Hopefully our Bloodbraids can pressure this Ren and 6 before it ultimates. If it does, if it is a legitimate concern, we can use our Ren and 6 to keep theirs down. But I'm not going to ping it now while it would make us susceptible to a Lightning Bolt. I forget which one they know about. Don't think it matters a whole lot. Yeah, play draw here definitely going to be pretty big in terms of their Ren and 6 needs to be answered before ours. Growth Spiral is interesting. Not super common in 4 color control. Maybe they're a more devoted Skeep Shift version. Dwarven Mine. Oh, are they playing the Spark of Ingenuity or whatever to like cheat an Emrakul into play? That would be interesting. It does seem like that. Time Warp, jeez. Yeah, I think that's what the opponent is on. Pretty interesting. I don't think there's much I could have done to combat this game. If they were just a traditional control deck, then these Bloodbraids would have given the hands, but we're not going to get to our 4th land drop, it seems. They get to ultimate here, right? And then have as many Time Warps as they have lands. I'm on a speed run mission, so let's just concede and go to the next. All right, Dwarven Mine, interesting. So I think they're on the put Emrakul into play deck. Let's engineer. We can name Dwarf to make their lands a lot worse. Ashiok probably has got some utility versus them. Is there any reason to bring in Spellbomb? I guess they're not. They're probably not playing a whole lot of creatures. They probably can't play any actual creatures if they're trying to do the Transmogrify the game plan. The Transmogrify game plan. Maybe I try to run them out of basics. That'd be cute, but I don't think that's going to be doing a whole lot. The 1-mana removal looks pretty bad, especially when I'm actually just straight not expecting any creatures outside of those dwarves to flip Emrakul. Ren and 6 is a Dark Confidant is a liability versus opposing Ren and 6s, but assuming they can't answer it, Bob is going to be one of the better things we could be doing. I mean, maybe it's just liability enough to where it's worse than the other stuff we've got in the deck. I could definitely see wanting to get Kolagon's Command. It's close. They do play lots of counter spells, so while these games do go long, I think it's probably fine to keep the discard to pair with our more important spells to make sure they get through. I think I am gonna cut the Bobs, which makes me sad. I do think they are gonna be fine, but they're gonna die to most of the removal spells in the opponent's deck, whereas everything else just seems a little bit more resilient. Yeah, this curve looks a little inverted, but I think against the mostly control deck, Haymakers are probably fine to overload with. As long as you can hit your land drops to get to them. Can't keep this. Can keep this. We'll lead on Thoughtseize. We've got Thoughtseize into Goyf into Liliana if it works. I think Brutality is enough good that if we stumble on lands, this Bloodbraid is never getting hit. So maybe I should just take the card. It's between these two, right? So I think I'm just gonna bin the card that has the biggest disaster rate when Brutality is very likely to be good. Bloodbraid is probably one of the better cards in the matchup because it's great versus counter spells. But I need the lands to find it. To be able to hit it, that is. Maybe got Ren and 6. It is in the Indomitable Creativity deck, so I think I'm just going to take the Ren and 6. They don't actually have a fetch land to combo with it, but it's such a disaster if they find one that I think I'm going to take it. Veil of Summer is going to make this Brutality pretty awkward, but Ren and 6 is that powerful where I think I'm forced to take it. Ren and 6 of my own would be a fantastic draw. Rogrin Triome. Any land would also be great. I most likely want to get basic swamp, so I guess we can pretty freely get Stomping Ground here. Yeah, I mean any land to guarantee I'm able to hit the Liliana next turn would have been great, but Ren and 6 was the actual nut because this lets us hit our lands while putting some semblance of card advantage into play. And having taken out the Bobs, this is literally just the best case. Shock and Pass. This could just mean Veil of Summer if they don't. This could just mean that they're going to Growth Spiral if they're not Veil of Summering. So let's get basic Swamp. I guess it's probably bad to get basics, but I mean my life total could come up. I guess if they're going to Emrakul me, then it's gonna be bad, but I mean not much I can do about that. Let's just get a basic here. Try to keep my life total kinda high. And I guess I can do this now for no particular reason. Liliana. This was a pretty good start. Thoughtseize, Ren and 6, Liliana. Wish I had the Bloodbraid now, but what you gonna do? And then I guess I'm just gonna discard the Mire because it's the one that they know about. Growth Spiral gets some info. Makes sense to me. It would be great if they just don't hit lands. We're not that lucky, unfortunately. Or they're not that unlucky. They know about the Mire, so let's just pitch that. There goes the Veil. Best way to beat Veil? Don't give them a window to cast it, I guess. They could also just have another. I would imagine they play at least 2 on the board. Probably as many as 3 for matchups like this. Alright, they don't have any more lands. That's big news. Engineer, that can stop the mountain shenanigans, which is the point. Let's return Mire. Plus with the Liliana. They're in theory discarding spells now. I think I'm just going to ditch the forest. I actually want to play the Mire. And then I guess we want to get the Goyf down. They discarded Flame Slash. So their hand is Time Warp, Creativity, and something. So they can actually Creativity if they just draw Dwarven Mine. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller reveals cards on top of the library until an artifact or creature card is revealed. The player puts the exile card on the battlefield and then shuffles. So I mean, the Emrakul doesn't have haste, so we could still just Edict it, right? So I mean, like any fetch or just Dwarven Mine would translate into an Emrakul. I'm most safe if I just Plague Engineer to name it, but I think taking out a Veil of Summer could be important because like if we Edict them, we could also just get Veiled, right? So if they do have another Veil, it may be important to Brutality now, and like if they don't have it, great. We just take something else like Time Warp, or there's the Creativity, and then we can still also just cast Tarmogoyf, all of which seems good. So yeah, them discarding Veil early might just mean another one, yeah, which it does. Let's get Goif into play for some pressure. I guess basic mountain's probably fine. We've got the green source in play already. Yeah, multiple Veil of Summers, always a pain. There's the mine. So they get to Indomitable Creativity, and then as long as they don't have third copy of Veil of Summer. Oh, wow. Flying Vigilance Haste. When it attacks, look at the top 7. You may put an instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost less than or equal to it without paying its mana cost, but the rest on the bottom of the end door. That's pretty good. So they get to kill the Liliana here. They get to bolt the Renin 6. Jeez. I did not expect it to go like this. They didn't bolt the Renin 6, which is kind of funky. But Liliana is a pretty good one, not gonna lie. I had seen something about this. I've never seen it executed. It's pretty cool. Obviously, I have to kill that thing right now as opposed to not and like playing the engineer. Let's hope they don't do it again. I guess they revealed most of their deck, which is kind of funny. Prismari command, cool. All right, cool. Liliana off the top to save us. Game 3. Well, if I didn't play Pillage on the play, I'm definitely not playing it on the draw. Bob gets even worse on the draw when they get to run in 6 first. Maybe I play Spellbomb to mitigate the effect of their run in 6, but I only get to do that once. It doesn't seem great. So submit again. You can turn that down, please, or close the door. Alright, versus 4 color, put Big Fat Dragon into play deck. Bolt is one of the weaker cards in the matchup. You've got Bonecrusher for a stomp. This hand is real borderline. I think I'm incentivized to keep. They've also mulliganed. I want to quickly search up Indomitable Creativity. Indomitable. So, it does target. So, Bolt is a way to disrupt it. I think I'm keeping. It's not super exciting. But again, Bonecrusher is helping us not draw the wrong half of the deck. This would be like maybe 3 removal spells, for example. But instead we have 3 removal spells and a Bonecrusher, which is nice. Looks like I'm ravining here. If they play Ren and 6, I'm going to have to double bolt it, which will be unfortunate. But probably still best to get my tap land into play. Going to be sure to play my black sources next, so maybe I can Liliana on 3. Let's really hope for no Ren and 6 here. They did mulligan once. They maybe just have... They have other 2-mana things like Growth Spiral, presumably stuff like Remand. I don't remember what we revealed. They probably should have screenshotted it and put it on the other screen. No Ren and 6, please. I'll take my turn off to kill it. Brutal. They even remembered to plus it. How wise. Not ideal. Not gonna lie. So this is effectively a 3-for-1, right? We've used 2 bolts, and they've already gotten a land back. Fat yuck. Got another one. Brutal. I think I'm going to play a Bonecrusher. There's a way to attack it. Not looking great, not gonna lie. They're not at Dwarven Mine yet, but they are with their next fetch land. I wonder if this deck can afford to play Valakut for free. So their whole deck is already mountains, right? So if they do go for the combo here, we get to Liliana Edict it. Attack for 5. Top 7, you may cast Sinister or Sorcery. Oh, they hit Time Warp. That's got to be bad news, right? That's got to be bad news. Like, I needed to pressure this run in 6 somehow, but tapping out means that I couldn't kill their thing, so maybe just an error. I mean, hitting Time Warp was pretty bad for me. So yeah, I think the loss here is probably coming from inexperience with the matchup. A big part of Jund is knowing how every other deck works, I think. That's been my experience, at least. Like, my win rates against certain decks have definitely gone up after getting a few reps in. What did they hit there? I didn't see. Growth Spiral? If they just cast a Time Warp, I'll scoop it up. I guess I'm not literally dead. I'm not literally dead. They hit me for 6 here. They can ping me down to 1. This deck is cool. It's my first time seeing it across the table. Savor the moment. Take an extra turn. Okay. You got me. That was cool. Not gonna lie. So 2-2, which is the worst record I've had in a long time, funny enough. Let's see if we can salvage. We got one. Hot dog. That is the opponent's name. You rolled a 5, but the opponent expertly rolled a 6. Oof. They revealed Luris. I don't think I'm keeping this hand. In a known matchup on the play, I think we could probably keep. But versus a deck that's likely to be an aggro deck, this hand is just way too slow. Without like meaningful interaction even on 2 or 3 mana. So that's for sure mulligan. Better. Probably gonna bottom of bolts just because that has the hands maintain the most variety. A little annoying that I don't have the red source untapped, but it'd be like that sometimes. Verdant Catacombs. Maybe Jund Shadow? Or a Shadow variant? Yep, I'm going to have to bolt that. Untap red, please. Blackleaf Cliffs? There are 4 of you. That's not untapped red. Alright, well, luckily they don't get to level this all the way up before we get to bolt it. And if they have a single discard spell, they can't take both bolts. Hex Drinker could still mean Shadow. Could also be, I guess, rock. I know Jabberwocky had a pretty popular rock list not too long ago. Could still be Jun Shadow. Jun Shadow. That's gonna be good. I guess what I can do here is just play the Overgrown Tomb tapped. If they decide to put mana into this, I could then bolt it. Thing is, like, it's gonna be dangerous if they like bolt or Kolaghan's command me, because then this gets out of bolt range. But I've got a Liliana for that next turn, so I'm really hoping they don't add another creature to the board here, and then I can Liliana onto an empty board, which would be the ideal case scenario here. Kinda rough. If I just kill this, they're going to level this up. Although, if they level it up all the way, I get to then just Liliana Edict. So, I mean, if that was the line, I should have for sure bolted this on my own turn when they were tapped out. Because now they can maybe bolt me in response, then it's a huge disaster. So now I think I need to not compound my errors and just go for this. Because any burn spell, and I just kind of lose on the spot when I don't kill either thing. I guess mutagenic growth doesn't decrease my life total, so that's actually fine. So I have to hope no third threat here. And if they did third threat it, if they do third threat it, then I can definitely start falling behind. Kind of similar. You had a threat on top of this. Yeah, so the mana situation definitely awkward, but I could have sequenced a little bit better, right? So I would have wanted to do what? I think I wanted to bolt this. I think I wanted to bolt this on my own turn while they were tapped out. Them not having another threat is pretty big, though. Inquisition's a fine draw, I guess. If they've got only a single removal spell, maybe we can take it. Maybe Goyf can outsize their whatchamacallit. They've got Shadow and Fatal Push. Guess I'm taking the push. Leaving you with Shadow and a Swamp. They can fetch lock down to 12, but then Bolt takes care of it. I have to go to 15 to play the Goyf, but that still has us outsizing it. So we get to brick it for a turn. Gonna have to be careful how I use the Peatland. If I use it even once more, Scourge is gonna grow, assuming they damage themselves, which you got to assume they will. That's the whole point of playing Shadow. Or they could just draw another Fatal Push. That's also quite bad. I mean, they're not really incentivized to play the Shadow as long as I can push it or bolt it. So I mean, if I can find a way to kill this, maybe I can restabilize. But that push was pretty bad for me, not gonna lie. Yep. So we're gonna bolt that. If we can find another way to kill a creature, we'll be pretty good. I could just play the Bloodbraid, but I don't want this thing growing where I can't touch it anymore. I could try to spike one of my 3 main deck copies of Fatal Push before this hits me. I think I may have to. There's the Swamp. We still have to beat the Loris somehow. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to spike it. I guess maybe I shouldn't. Thing is, like, if I'm going to cast Bloodbraid, I have to tap these twice anyway, which means I can't actually tap these. So I think I am supposed to actually just Hail Mary the Fatal Push. Nope. Go to 2. Can't cast Bloodbraid unless I draw a basic. I mean, ideally I just find a spot removal spell, but oh god, never mind. Never mind. Now it doesn't matter. Hex Drinker was pretty good here. 4/4 protection for most of my removal is going to be near impossible to beat. Our hot run has officially come to an end, I think. Nope. The deck has still felt absolutely insane, and I'm not gonna take one subpar result after 5 insane results, like as a bad omen or anything. Let's bring in the Fatal Push. Also, the first round loss versus Dredge was very winnable. And then again, the match last round, I put down defense against the combo because of my inexperience. This might be a good Ghost Quarter matchup. There are only so many basics that they have. Interested to see if this is actually going to be relevant. A lot of the time, they don't even play a basic green source, right? Kalidas could be interesting. So if we get there, Kalidas could be very good. Still dies to push and the like. Let's cut 5 things. I think I'm just going to cut all the discard spells, to be honest. They're pretty bad versus Veil of Summers, and also discard just isn't great going long. We're bringing in another land. I want to, for science, try the Kalidas. I don't think it's going to be fantastic, but I do want to try it. This has us needing 1 cut. We're at 25 lands, so I could conceivably just cut one of those. I think I will. Maybe just a Blackleaf Cliffs, keep all of my fetchables. I'm aware that Ghost Quarter is colorless and it's kind of a spell, but I mean it's also a land. My curve is on the high side, so maybe cutting a land is a little too needlessly risky. But every other spell in my deck seems pretty good. Maybe I cut a Bolt that doesn't kill a whole lot of the time. It's when killing Luris is a big deal, but actual everything that kills actual everything in the deck also kills Luris. This is real close. Liliana, I think, is probably my best removal spell in the deck, especially on the play. We've got Bob on 2. It's pretty glass cannon-y, especially versus a discard spell, but I think it's on the edge of keepable. They did not mulligan. So I'm going to everything in the deck costs 1 or 2, so I don't need to maintain a fetch for revolting pushes. I can just get the fetch out of the way now. So I'll probably get Stomping Ground. All of my other lands produce black. So I can go like Stomping Ground, Blackleaf Cliffs, Basic Swamp. My mana's perfect. No discard spell, please. I guess, or 1 mana removal spell. That's asking a lot. They could also maybe just be trying to hold up a Veil of Summer. Although they got to imagine I don't have the discard if I didn't fire it off on turn 1 on the play. I just want spells at this point. I've got all the lands I'll ever need. Not great. Don't kill me, please. If this thing starts triggering, it's a real easy way to start pulling ahead. That said, I would not at all be surprised if it died right now in the next 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dismember. I knew it was a dismember because I saw the life being lost as a cost. I mean, yeah, if you discard spell me here, I'm gonna get the Liliana anyway. Hard decision here. Don't do it again, please. Okay, they didn't do it again. That's nice. Yikes. I swear if you surgical me. There was a pause at my draw steps. I was like, you wouldn't. Sticking a Liliana is big game, especially having it go to 4. Oh, are you playing a Stubborn Denial? You got me if you got me. Holy crap. Oof. We didn't see the 4th color. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. I mean, they didn't have another discard spell, so had I known they were playing blue, I probably would have just waited on the Liliana. Green. Basic Forest. Yep. I guess they're not playing Mountain then, right? Because the 4-color deck... The 3-color decks usually play the Mountain. Is it too much to ask for 3rd Liliana? Apparently. This is a 6/7. Holy moly. Let's play a 4/3. I guess we can hope they're flooded. I guess we can hope they're flooded. Luris to hand. I guess we can hope they're flooded. They've got to be afraid of some combination of spells if they're letting me attack for 4. So maybe they just can't attack yet. They figure if they can take the game longer with the Luris they just put into hand, they probably can't lose. So I think no attack here is probably pretty smart. Or you terminate. The issue with this is if we terminate the Goyf, they're just going to play the Luris and then replay the terminate. Or sorry, replay the Goyf. They know about a Verdant, so I guess I'm just passing here and then going to try to terminate the Luris. We're not going to beat a Veil of Summer, that's for sure. But I mean, finding actual any way to combat a Luris was lucky. So I think they liked their top card. That would have been the reason to bobble themselves now, because maybe they had like a fetch in hand. There's no other reason to time it here, because if I draw a discard spell, they could have that card being susceptible to it if it's reactive. I mean, they don't know that I took my discard out, but you never know. Trying to think like 5 steps ahead. If you attack, I'll take the hit. Please don't have a stubborn denial. Interesting. Are you just not playing Luris then? Just another Goyf. Jeez. Alright, show me the stubborn denial. Okie dokie. This is 6 power, so actually may have been relevant to not fetch there, funny enough. Let's get the Blood Crypt. This shortens the opponent's clock by 1, assuming they somehow don't commit more pressure. We need Bloodbreed. We need a Bloodbreed. Bloodbreed, Bloodbreed, Bloodbreed. Boom. Not quite. I guess we attack. At least make it dangerous for them. We're not blocking, that's for sure. Ravine is another lethal threat next turn. Their Luris in hand does have lifelink, so we're going to have to knock it out of the way somehow. They don't know that the last card is a Verdant, so maybe they have to be at least a little afraid of what we can do. If you've got the Battle Rage and you feel like going for it, then it is what it is. Alright, it is what it is. GG. Darn. So we had our first non-stellar result, but to be fair to the actual deck list, 2 of our losses were winnable. So it's like kind of like we could have 4-1, maybe even better. But again, we lost because I was greedy with the spell bomb, and we lost because of my inexperience in a matchup. And I think in a world where I have a level head and a little bit more of a respect for the combo in that 4th matchup, I think we're much less likely to lose. So I don't think this one league after 5 great ones and then a 6th great data point where like the list could have very easily 4-1'd or better. I'm not going to take this as a bad sign. I still think this list is absolutely phenomenal. And it's been nice to see instances where I guess the Ghost Quarter is good. We've been very skeptical of this card in the past. We brought it in a few times this league, and if you watched the previous video, which was Mana Traders matches 6 through 10, we saw it be good there. So I am liking the Ghost Quarter a little bit more. I definitely see where it's got its applications. But yeah, all in all, I still think this list has a crap ton of merit, and it's definitely a blast to play. So we are now combined. We were 23-2. Now we're 25-5, right? 25-5. So still an absolutely outstanding record. at an 80% win rate, which is real good. And again, like we maybe could have been 27-3, but I'm a doof and I got greedy a couple times. So like I said, I'm trying to speed run these so I can get as many recordings in as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and end the recording there before I start babbling. If you're watching this here on YouTube, thank you for watching and supporting the content. If you're not already subscribed, definitely please do. It's a great free way to support what I do. And hit that like button to see more content like this. So until next time, have a good one and Jund 'em out.